Proxy Principal. Proxy Principal. Proxy Principal.
Is this thing on? Can anyone hear me? Testing, testing, testing the mic for fertility. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to my first podcast, The Proxy Principal. My name is Candi Rans, and for those who tuned in, for your listening pleasure, I'm using a pretend microphone today. I've had quite a few people request that I do this podcast for a while now, and I'm tired of hearing myself make up excuses on why I can't. So instead of waiting for the perfect mic to arrive or to have the perfect studio for you to view, I decided to use a prop today. And let me just tell you that my pretend microphone happens to look like a hairbrush, because it is a hairbrush. I hope the amplification is satisfactory for those of you who decided to tune into my frequency. And it's somewhat apropos, because I'm convinced that none of the stories that I will be sharing on the Proxy Principal would have happened had I not used a similar prop close to 50 years ago in my little hometown of Logansport, Indiana. I would guess I was about 3 years of age when I started dreaming of being a singer. I'm sure it was my dad who handed me that hairbrush to practice with. And it wasn't too long after that that I sang my first solo in church. That, my friends, was all it took. That's where I got the bug. I loved the interaction of the audience. I mean, congregation. Granted, it was church, and yes, it was to glorify the Lord, but I was a kid. And the accolades I received after the show, sermon, was what actually hooked me. I wanted to be a singer, and this was my first platform. And people liked me. And I loved music. It was a match made in heaven, no pun intended. But it didn't just happen. I had envisioned it. All of it. I pretended and practiced all the time. It was my favorite thing to do. Pretending was what prepared me. Practicing the pretending is what got me to where I wanted to go every time. I had this little pink record player in my room, and I would put on my albums or 45s and act out the songs while singing them, before videos were even a thing. I remember at a very young age staring out my window singing these exact lyrics. So many nights I'd sit by my window, waiting for someone to sing me his song. So many dreams I kept deep inside me, alone in the dark, but now you've come along. Now sing it with me. I know you know the next line. You light up my life. You give me hope to carry on. You light up my days and fill my nights with song. Yep, that was me, singing out my window into my little hairbrush. And I was little, but I was mighty, and I was in it to win it. We all know that this scenario is not unique to me, but it's so funny to look back at the what and the how and where my journey has brought me, while reminiscing about the very beginning. That little girl had a lot of intention. The feeling of it being real when I was only pretending. And singing those words to those lyrics. Did I even understand what I was singing about? And who was I singing to at the top of my lungs? It wasn't just for me. I was singing to the world. If you think about it, as cheesy as they may seem to be now, those lyrics are kind of profound reminiscence, because I remember feeling them to my core. And that was the key to this little girl making her dreams come true. Did she do it by herself? No. I may not have known the intent that was behind my desire, but my desire was strong. And the right people showed up in that desire. This is one reason I decided to call this the Proxy Principal. I dreamed up some things, not realizing till 40 years later that I had the power to turn those dreams into a reality. And those dreams turned out to be bigger than what I could have ever asked for or imagined, because of the help of others, as well as the opportunities to reciprocate. Let me give you another reason I decided on this title. Do you recall the 1997 movie Picture Perfect, starring Jennifer Aniston? Jay Moore and Kevin Bacon were in it also, if that helps. I loved that movie so much. I didn't know at the time, when that movie came out, that I would not only be on set with Jen in my not-so-distant future, but I would also work alongside another talented actor from this rom-com, Kevin Dunn. But those names are beside the point at this juncture. The reason I bring up this film is to use it as a comparison. Remember the scene where Kate, which was Jennifer Aniston's character in the movie, and for those of you who haven't seen the movie, Kate works in an advertising firm. But remember when Kate was sitting in the conference room with her superiors, brainstorming the pitch for Golden's Mustard? She initiates an idea with this question. Didn't Cindy Crawford graduate second in her class? In biochemistry, I think? Then she proceeds to give the print. Big picture of Cindy Crawford. The headline reads, "If you never gave number 2 a try, think what you'd be missing." Then comes the picture of Cindy. Then beneath that, a little log line that says, Cindy Crawford graduated second from Podunk University, BS in biochemistry. Then on the facing page, a beauty shot of Golden's Mustard. And beneath that, in big letters, Golden's Mustard, number 2, and that ain't bad. Well, this is how I view my career. It's my own pile of golden shit, kind of like a number 2, but it's mine. Yes, I had dreams of being number 1 when I was young. I wanted to be a famous singer, and I thought acting would go hand in hand with music. With everyone being a multimedia event these days, why not me? But what I gleaned from age 18 to the current is that I didn't ever really want to give my soul away in order to be famous. Otherwise, I probably would have achieved it, because my intentions were powerful, and I had had many opportunities thrown my way. Instead, I fell into related jobs, weird jobs, and it's been an interesting journey. Yes, I've had several record deals, but they all fell through for one reason or another. So to pay the bills, I stopped singing my own songs and started singing other people's songs in cover bands, including my own, as well as some of the greatest tribute and international cover bands of all time. This also opened the door for me to sing backup and alongside some household names. And although I was never one of those leading ladies on TV or film, I did earn a few guest star and supporting roles after having been a stand-in for some actual leading ladies. This is what I've been doing for the last 30 years. By proxy, I was not only given authority to act on someone else's behalf, I have also made a living by using my voice representing someone else's music. So, do I feel like a failure? Not at all. I am and was a very valuable asset in both of those positions. I have had no regrets, and I didn't miss out on anything. I kept quiet a lot, but I observed. Was I just a fly on the wall? No, I participated. So I'll also have some pointers for those interested in exploring the entertainment industry, whether you want to give this industry your heart and soul, or you're simply curious to go behind the scenes. Now, let me preface, my golden pile of shit is not to be mistaken for Golden's Mustard. But if you give number 2 a chance, you might find my stories to be really juicy, They might be funny, tragic perhaps, jaw-dropping, maybe, or quite possibly even more milquetoast than what you've heard. I've got no handlers, no PR, editing every word I say. What you'll get with me is intellectual honesty because I've journaled everything. After decades behind the scenes in entertainment, I've got stories to share. From TV, movies, music, I'll spill the tea, and I'll be including some of the biggest names I've met along the way. So you can expect some guests to arrive on occasion. No holds barred. We'll also dive deep into life between gigs, relationships, spirituality, health, politics. You get the picture. So I invite you to stick around, because if you never give number 2 a try, think what you might be missing. You might just find out she ain't that bad. We'll be right back after this message.
The Proxy Principal.
Introducing Vanity Fair, the band that brings unforgettable performances covering more than 25 music genres from the 1920s to today. With a growing set list and a range of ensembles, they're perfect for corporate events, festivals, weddings, and more. When you want entertainment that stands out, Vanity Fair delivers every time. Their team is dedicated to working with you, offering personalized experiences that match your vision and your budget, and creating a truly memorable event. Ready to book Vanity Fair for your next event? Visit Vanity Fair.
Okay, so I get a call from one of my friends, and she's trying to get me to purchase this new product she's selling. We all know the feeling, right? And this product might be along the lines of what some would call skincare. I personally have very sensitive skin. I've got my regimen down, so it's usually an automatic no to anyone who asks, simply because sometimes the products work, but usually only for a couple of weeks or maybe even months. But then I start getting breakouts, and I end up going back to my old products. But I'm not going to lie. This friend that called me gave me some of this product, and it is fabulous. The product is Reman, and I noticed a difference right away. Have you ever heard of tiger grass? Well, legend has it that wounded tigers would roll in this plant to heal their skin, earning its nickname, tiger grass. Does Reman have its own strain and technology of tiger grass? Hard to say, but after putting Reman on my skin, I rapidly saw and felt a difference in just 5 to 7 days. And let's not forget to mention the packaging is gorgeous, and it comes in real generous size bottles. I'm telling you, when you try it, you're going to feel a difference right away, and you're going to see the difference not too long after. My favorite part of this product is that it is clean, and it abides by the European Union standards. There's over 3,000 toxic chemicals that this company bans from their products. So you can feel really good about what you're putting on your skin. I know some of you live in these bigger cities like Los Angeles. You have access to some of the best skincare in the world just by popping into a mall or heading into Beverly Hills. So I get it. But I'm telling you, this product is affordable luxury. And best of all, it has clean ingredients. The active cleanup powder alone makes my skin feel and look so clean. And the oil mist, the calming balance gel, the boosters, the serums, and the active cream make me feel pampered every time I use them. I personally have elevated my cleansing routine to a skincare ritual by using Reman, and you can too. So visit candirans.reman.com. That's candirans.reman.com. Check out candirans.reman.com to find your own Reman ritual, whether it's skincare, personal care, wellness, or all of it. I promise your skin will thank you for it.
The Proxy Principal.
Now, If you'll just humor me for just a moment while I extrapolate upon who lit up my life in my humble beginnings. I feel in order for us to get to know one another, I should inform you of some of the people who spoke light into my being and how they impacted me. My immediate family didn't really go to church until I was in elementary school, but my mom would read Bible stories to my brother and me, and my grandma would take me to church on Sunday mornings. She would teach me church hymns and sing with me, and the one song that sticks out the most, This Little Light of Mine. She'd use little hand motions like sign language while she sang it, and this practice of music, lyric, and action was teaching me to be. It was teaching me never to hide, but to let it all hang out. We set intentions together with the words of that song. At the other end of the spectrum, she and my mom watched a lot of soap operas, otherwise known as their stories. When I was in middle school, I noticed that they watched certain soaps religiously. And I asked my mom, why do you watch this one and not the other one? And her response was, because of the lighting. Was it not because of the actors or the storylines? No. She said it was because of the lighting. Little did she or I know that one of my future career choices would be to stand in for actors so that they may be lit well for the scenes that you and I see on TV and film. Was she foreshadowing my life, or was I when I asked that question? Who knows? Maybe both. I also ended up working on some of those soap operas, by the way, but I digress. I told that story to one of my directors of photography, and he said, wow, I didn't think anyone even paid attention to the lighting. Well, he didn't know my mother. And another director of photography told me I didn't need to be lit because I put off my own light. Obviously, he was kidding. Or maybe even flirting a little. Hell, maybe he uses that line on everybody. But that was one of the greatest compliments I could have ever received. I had moved to Los Angeles with so many dreams, yet there were so many unknowns. And I didn't move here from Indiana. I moved here from Nashville, Tennessee, the Bible Belt, after having left a lifetime in the church. And although I had left the church, I still had a lot of friends in Tennessee who used their Christianese accountability tactics to tell me that LA was dark and that the Lord had told them that I shouldn't go. Well, guess what? If the Lord didn't want me to go, he would have told me. I'm going to give my friends that said this the benefit of the doubt that they perhaps lived in fear, or maybe they just didn't want to see me go. I'm also going to thank them because their fears pushed me to do something to prove that there was nothing to be afraid of. Yes, I was going into an unknown. But my questions for my Christian friends were, light exposes the dark, does it not? So if you are a light, why would you be afraid of the dark? Here was another way to look at it. If you were to go to a jeweler and he wanted to show you the most beautiful diamond, would he display that diamond on a rough piece of white linen? No. My guess is he would use the most luxurious piece of black velvet that he could find. So maybe I came to a dark place. Or maybe all of the world has a lot of dark places. I mean, if we're being real honest here, we as individuals all have dark places. But we also have a lot of light inside of us too. So why are people so afraid to look at it? I'm going to tell you, in order to see what is in the dark, you've got to bring the light. And my intention that was passed down from my grandma and my mother's words, hide it under a bushel? No, I'm going to let it shine. And I'm going to let my light shine like that diamond on that black velvet. And I'm going to do this until my dying day. Who knows? Maybe even after I die, this polished number 2 will shine like a fucking star. Sorry for the language. But yes, I can just hear my sister-in-law right now saying, Candi, sometimes I worry about your self-esteem. Well, get in line, girl, because, if there's one thing my family knows about me, it's that I do not lack in the confidence arena. Do I get scared? Yeah, I do. We all have insecurities. But being brave or courageous doesn't mean you're fearless of the unknown. It means you do it regardless. And I can thank my parental units for instilling this in me. Now, you've already picked up that I have a religious background. Do not worry, I am not here to preach. I'm only here to encourage, which is the main reason for my title, The Proxy Principal. I'm simply here telling stories to give perspective on what has worked for me, and hopefully to inspire you, to represent those who have gone through shit, but who rise like a phoenix from the ashes regardless. I mentioned that I sang my first solo in church, but I didn't fully understand the meaning of Bible verses, especially like the ones listed in Matthew chapter 18, verses 19 through 20, until close to 20 years after I left the church. And for those of you who don't know the biblical passage I'm referring to, the verses sound a little something like this. Again, I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Now, I just thought it meant that people were supposed to pray together. But what is prayer exactly? For me, it's setting intention. Some of you already know how this works, but this is the part where my boyfriend likes to call me a witch, because he didn't have the religious upbringing that I had, and he knows that I continue to use this practice for myself and in helping my friends achieve things that they want in life, including him. I think they called Jesus a witch and a devil for doing the same kind of things, so I really don't care. Just don't crucify me, okay? Anyway, from the first story I told you about me, I've used this kind of practice my whole life, even before I knew it was actually stated as a holy guidance. And if we're all being honest, innately, we all do this. It's just that sometimes we need to be reminded. So what is it that gets us from point A to point B? Or in my case, from Logansport, Indiana to Los Angeles? Number 1, wish it. Number 2, start pretending to be the person who already has it. Number 3, find a cheerleader or 2 who will represent you with your dreams. Number 4, keep your distance from the naysayers, including your own naysaying. Negative reinforcement will only hinder you from reaching your destination. And number 5, continue to pretend the feeling until you have the stability to take action on your desire. And if you can do this from a place of gratitude, as if you've already received it, it cannot help but to show up. Most of the time, it's not going to fall in your lap, but it can. It depends on how practiced you are. Sometimes just allowing yourself to dream about your desire will get you there quickly. You know what I'm talking about. You know when you get that weird phone call from someone that you've never met, who knows so-and-so, who told them that your talents may be suitable for a certain opportunity? Or you might run into someone at the grocery store that you haven't seen in years who has the perfect lead for you. Just think of how much more powerful your intention can be when you share it with a friend or 2 who believe in you. That's the key to those verses. Here, let me give you another example, and this is one of my favorite stories. In 2017, I was standing in on multiple shows. One of the shows, which aired on CBS, was a fine little gem by Jason Katims called Pure Genius. I had worked on many shows at that point in my career, and I'd had many friends in many different departments. Now, my friends and acquaintances know that I am and will be their biggest cheerleader in whatever they want or desire, as long as they're not hurting themselves or others. And to the point where I'm sure they and others think I'm a little woo-woo. And I don't care. And they know I don't care. I celebrate them no matter what. Well, while working on this show, my leading lady's love interest stand-in, did that make sense? In other words, the stand-in that I spent the most time with on set, approached me one day. His name is Evan, and he took me aside and asked if he could talk to me for a minute. I said, sure, what's up? He looked around to make sure no one was listening and said very quietly, look, I know how you like to work your magic. And I laughed a little bit, but I knew what he was talking about. He seriously proceeded with, my favorite band are the Chili Peppers, and I have never seen them play live. They're playing in town, and I'm trying to get my hands on some tickets. Do you know of anyone that might have some? I can't find any anywhere. I was like, well, they're not really my jam, and most of my friends know that they're probably not my jam, but you never know. Maybe something might show up. So I started to ask him questions, creating that momentum of agreement. I asked, where are they playing? And it's been a little while, so just for the sake of keeping this story moving, I feel like he told me it was Staples or Crypto in downtown LA. I said, okay, when is it? And he said, I think they're playing here for several dates. So I'll make work whatever date you can get. And laughing at it, I said, okay, cool. As if the tickets were already in play. Where do you want to sit? He said, I don't care if they're the nosebleed seats. I just want to get into the building. And again, I laughed. I was like, okay, so do you know how much the nosebleed seats cost? Because you have to give what you're wanting a monetary value. He looked at me like a dog who cocks his head sideways at high-pitched noises. You know what I'm talking about. And he said he didn't know. So I decided to have a little fun with this, and I told him to find out and to get back to me. I believe he came back the very next day, and he told me that the tickets were approximately $38.50. I said, okay, let's see what happens. Well, the show was a couple of weeks away, and I had somewhat forgotten about it. It was a short day for my actress, so they wrapped me early. I remember that it was during rush hour, but it was beautiful outside. I cranked the radio, and I rolled my windows down on my drive home. I might as well enjoy the gorgeous weather and sing a little bit, right? Well, don't you know, a song by the Chili Peppers came on, and I started to grin. But then I started thinking, how cool would it be if I were able to call my friend Evan to tell him that I got my hands on some tickets for this Chili Peppers concert? I was kind of laughing to myself and thinking of all of the ridiculous ways his ship could come in, like them announcing a way to call into the radio station or something like that, and me actually winning them. Because when you believe, the possibilities are endless. But part of it is that I had no skin in the game, really. I wasn't hopeful or desperate. I was just having fun with myself while one of their songs was playing on the radio. And then once I got home, I totally forgot about it. In fact, it really wasn't brought up again. So fast forward to a couple of weeks later. I got called to work on one of my other shows, but not to stand in. Get Shorty, the TV show, which was on Epix, and it was based on the novel and the movie, and I'm sure you've heard of the title. I don't even know if Epix is a thing anymore. I feel like they were rebranded or something. Anyway, Get Shorty needed extra background actors that day, and I knew the crew, so I said, yes, of course, I'll be an extra. When I get to set, which we were on location at Warner Brothers that day, I noticed that my friend Evan, the guy wanting the tickets, was there. But instead of a stand-in or an extra, he was a PA, which translates, for those not in the know of the entertainment world, as a producer's assistant. We all wear different hats around here. We said our hellos, and yes, he did ask about the tickets. I said, no, I haven't heard anything, but a lot can happen in a day. So we went our separate ways. I went to the holding area until I was needed for the scene. And Evan went up the street to lock up the shot so that no unapproved people or cars, etc., came through while shooting. Fast forward to a couple of hours later, I was scrolling on my phone. We were between setups for a new shot, and I received this text. It's from one of my girlfriends, April, who is a camera operator on Pure Genius. And the text reads something along these lines. Hi there. I have something that you probably won't be interested in, but I have 2 tickets to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers tonight. I know it's late notice, and I know it's probably not your thing. Something came up and I can't go. So I thought I'd see on some off chance if you'd want them. They're in the nosebleed section, but I figured it couldn't hurt to ask. My eyes about popped out of my head. I reread the text to make sure I wasn't imagining what had just come across my phone. I jumped up, ran to the crew while production was setting up a shot, and I loudly yelled, "Does anyone have eyes on Evan?" Another PA was within reach, and I said, "Let me use your talkie," or whatever that thing is that they use to communicate. I summoned Evan from his lockup spot up the street, over the walkie, for everyone to hear. I told him to get his ass to set because he's not going to believe the news that I had. I mean, who the hell am I to be interrupting production? Oh my God. I was so excited in that moment. Nothing else mattered. Evan rushed to set. I asked him, is there any way that production would let you leave early today? Is there any way that you can get a babysitter for your kiddo tonight? Because I just got you tickets to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I told him the story, and we jumped up and down screaming and laughing like we had just won the lottery. Don't you know, lo and behold, he got a sitter, production let him leave early, and Evan and his wife got to go see his favorite band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, that night, thanks to my friend April Kelly and a little magic. I get so pumped up whenever I relive this story. Evan may have had some desperation in his asking because he wanted it so badly, but he found a friend who he knew would not poo-poo his idea. He went to someone who he knew had no resistance in getting what he wanted. What do we learn from this? Find your people. Find the people who believe in you. Celebrate your ideas with people who are willing to keep you balanced when you might be feeling a little wonky. Evan sent me pictures of he and his wife at the show the next day. He said they had a blast. He told me that after I put him in touch with April, that she said, well, next time you ask Candi to work her magic, try to get closer seats. So that's a reminder that when you ask, don't hold back in your asking. But it's also a reminder that he got exactly what he asked for. So again, let me reiterate, pretending was what prepared me. Practicing the pretending is what got me to where I wanted to go every time. And like I mentioned, this is not unique to me. I am not special. But I have come to the realization that I am extraordinary. As are you. Every person who has ever wanted something, and I mean really wanted it, think about how you went about it. How strong was your intention? What did your intention inspire you to do to get that thing or that opportunity or that relationship? Also, think about when you didn't get something you really wanted. What was your intention then? And what could you have done differently, which may have led you to that opportunity? Maybe you did all the things, but that something that you really wanted didn't show up till way later in life. Or maybe your desire changed shape. I'll leave you with this. Trust the process. And so maybe I'm just pretending today with my little hairbrush that I'm using as a microphone. But I'm not dead yet. My intentions are still powerful. And even though I'm 53 years old rather than 3, I can pretend to have an audience, but maybe you're actually listening out there. And when two or more are gathered, it's no longer pretending or practicing. Nope. If you are here with me, we're helping each other out. That's when the reality starts to take shape. So let me just say thank you. Thank you for taking part in joining me today on the Proxy Principal. And maybe we'll co-create some new and wonderful experiences together. Maybe I can be your muse, and maybe you can be mine. On any of the platforms where you may be listening to this podcast, please feel free to message me. I look forward to hearing from you, whether you have comments or questions. Maybe you have an intention that you'd like for someone to help you with, or maybe you'd just like to say hello. I want you to reach out because I want you to be part of this journey with me, by proxy anyway. I'm going to celebrate the lives that we all want together because together we are unlimited. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get to see me using a real microphone next time on the Proxy Principal.
The Proxy Principal.